Hey guys, welcome to your first semester review, starting with Introduction to Photosynthesis. Our key concept, which is basically one of our I can statements, is you need to kind of understand that plants make their own food through photosynthesis, which combines sunlight, carbon dioxide from the air, and water to make plant food called glucose. Glucose is basically a type of sugar. So, as you notice that the paragraphs are numbered, and you will need to understand this as we go on. Okay, so here we go. Plants, algae, including phytoplankton, and many other microorganisms require light to live. There are a few types of plants that can live without light, but most plants will die if they do not receive adequate light. Light is a form of energy, which we call radiant energy, that most plants take in and use to carry out photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a series of chemical reactions that produce glucose, which is sugar, a compound plants use as food. In this way, plants use light from the sun to make their own food. Radiant energy from the sun is changed to chemical energy and glucose molecules. Remember, molecules are very small particles that make up many things. The following reaction summarizes this process. You see here, where I'm circling, carbon dioxide, water, and light energy combine and go through the process of photosynthesis, and those molecules rearrange to create sugar, oxygen, and some water sometimes, but mostly sugar and oxygen. Plants differ from animals by using radiant energy this way. Animals cannot use radiant energy from the sun to make glucose. They must obtain energy from the environment in the form of food, which contains chemical energy. Animals have to eat in order to survive. So basically that means humans and all other animals cannot go out in the sunshine and make our own food. We have to eat. Key concept 2. Radiant energy from the sun is converted to chemical energy and stored in sugar bonds, hint, hint, glucose, during the chemical reaction of photosynthesis. So here we see another picture of it, okay? So it says photosynthesis is a word with two parts. Photo is Greek for light, and synthesis is Greek for putting together, which is exactly what the process of photosynthesis does. Plants use light to put things together. If you look over here at the picture, sunlight is going into the plant, carbon dioxide is going into the plant, and water is going into the plant. These are the reactants. So light, carbon dioxide, and water. During photosynthesis that happens in the plant, it produces oxygen, which is released, and the plant food, which is glucose, stays in the plant. Same thing right here. The plant produces, this is when photosynthesis takes place, glucose, which stays in the plant, and oxygen, which is given off in the air. All animals and humans eat food, but plants do not eat anything. Photosynthesis is how plants eat. They make their own food. Because plants cannot move around to find food, they need three materials available anywhere they are: sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. On our planet, plants, algae, and photosynthetic bacteria can use radiant energy from the sun, along with carbon dioxide and water, to produce or make oxygen and a carbohydrate for fuel called glucose, which is sugar. Radiant energy from the sun is converted to chemical energy and stored in sugar bonds during the chemical reaction of photosynthesis. The total number of atoms of each element in the reactants, which is the beginning, equals the total number of atoms of each element in the products, which is what happens, your ending. Okay? The atoms have only been rearranged to form new molecules. This is just extra, but if you remember, we talked about the law of conservation of mass, where it says things cannot be created or destroyed, it's just rearranged or transformed. That's exactly what's going on right here. All chemical reactions are represented by balanced chemical equations. This means that the total number of atoms of each element in the reactants must equal the total number of atoms of each element in the products. The balanced chemical equation above shows what takes place to produce one molecule of sugar. During photosynthesis, the balancing act takes place when the radiant energy from the sunlight helps break up the atoms in the carbon dioxide and the atoms in the water. This chemical reaction shuffles and rearranges the atoms to make sugar, and the leftover oxygen atoms are released from the plant leaf as a byproduct. This is not going to be on our test. I just want you to hear it again, though. Notice that it takes 6 water molecules of water and 6 molecules of carbon dioxide to make one molecule of glucose. The diagram shows the inputs and the outputs of photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide in the air enters through the plant's leaves. Water in the soil enters through the plant's roots. Oxygen exits through the leaves. Glucose can be used immediately as food or can stay behind to make other structural molecules for growth. The photosynthetic reaction takes place in the chloroplast of plant cells. Chloroplasts are what makes leaves green. These little chemical factories take sunlight, carbon dioxide from the air, and water absorbed by the roots and turn them into sugar and oxygen.